Alright everyone, welcome back. So now I'm going to start another series for one of the very important services inside the AWS, and every single other service which just simply revolves around this particular service. So it doesn't depend on particular service, and it just doesn't depend on any particular region also. So it's like a horizontal service across all other service to get managed. And that is nothing but identity and access management. So before we dive into complete hands-on part, let's just get an idea about what we are going to learn in this particular video. Let's just get in a very high level overview about what this identity and access management is. What are the concepts around that whole IAM system revolves in case of AWS. Okay, so what is AWS IAM? So it's a identity and access management system. As I say, it's a global services, no region specific. So it doesn't depend on whether you are deploying on some particular region. So in a one word, or I would say in a one sentence, if I just want to say, what is IAM? So IAM just defines in your AWS who is authenticated to which resource. Who, that means some sign-in user or maybe some application in a general way. But for time being, let's just consider one particular, let's say some user. So I'm just writing like this, and to which particular resource. So it can be like some storage system S3, or maybe something like some compute system like a EC2, I would say. So IAM indirectly defines and combine these two entities, that which particular user, who is nothing but authenticated sign-in user, has access on which particular resource, which is nothing but a permission. Okay, so if you want to learn about AWS, there are some concepts like users, groups, IAM role, policy, around which the whole IAM system resides. So let's just get an idea about what these users are, what is this group, and what is policy in this particular video. So what is user? Users are nothing but when you want to represent any person or entity in your organization, you are creating user inside the AWS. But why you need to create a user? By default, when you create some account, with that particular account, you can access all the services inside the AWS. But let's say within your organization, you just don't want to delegate those complete root access level stuff to individual person, individual employee in your organization. So you'll create something like a sub user inside it, which is nothing but a user. So the idea behind the user is to delegate the responsibility for some particular services. Now, when you create a AWS account, which we have created earlier, by default, there is a root user, and root user has all the access, but definitely those things is not recommended to share with every single user. So here it's trying to say that when you have a, let's say some root level user, inside that there are a lot of employees. Definitely to all those employees, you just cannot share the credential. So for that, root user has the ability to create the user inside it, and individual user credential you can share with individual employee. Now by default, user has no access. So once you create the user do not have an ability to access anything inside any of the resource. So it just cannot access IAM, it just cannot access indirectly, it just cannot access anything, it just can be able to enter inside the console. So how does IAM user being defined? So IAM user has username, it has a password to enter into it, and on which particular resource it has access to, that is being defined by permissions. So those things we'll see later. So this is how the whole user system being defined. Now let's say you have a root account, and inside the root account, you just don't want to delegate the root account to every single employee. So let's say you have employees like a John, Alice, and a Bob. So to all of them, you can create a different user and provide the credential to each of them. And afterwards, we'll provide the permission or assign permission to individual user, that let's say John can be able to do just EC2 related stuff, Alice can be able to do some billing related stuffs only, or a Bob can be able to view some of the buckets inside the S3 simple storage. So that is how the things got defined. Now, just now we have defined the user, another concept which is a group. So what is group here, and why you need to define the concepts like a group? So group as a dictionary meaning itself indicates that it's nothing but a collection of user. So when you do not want to manage your hundreds of even thousands of different user, you put those user into different container, and those containers are nothing but a group. And then you can attach policy to individual group. Now, what is the advantage behind a group? That instead of managing individual user, once you add some particular user to any of the group, everything associated with those group will be automatically inherited to individual user who is a part of those particular group. Now, group cannot be nested. That means you just cannot add group within a group, and it just contain only user, no other user group. So that's like a self-understood, but user can belong to multiple groups. So we'll see about that. One particular group can contain multiple user, and one user can belong to multiple groups. Let's say we have a AWS account. Within account, we have some admin related users. So we have created one admin groups. Within admin, we have let's say John, and let's say we have another group like a developer. Within a developer, we have a John and Alice. So John is a part of admin group also. John is a part of developer group also. Apart from admin and developer, let's say we have a tester team. So within a tester, we have a Alice and Bob. So you can see now Alice is also part of developer team, and Alice is a part of tester team also. Same way John is a part of admin group also and developer group also. So this way you can combine multiple user into one single container, and that is what the concept of group. Now how this group will be helpful? So whatever permission, everything you will assign it, let's say admin level, automatically every single user who is a part of those particular admin group will get inherited all those permission. Let's say you assign to developer some particular Amazon Cognito related services, automatically John and Alice will get those permission, and you do not need to individually assign those permission. Okay, so now the next concept is a policy. What is policy? Policies are nothing but something like a JSON document which defines that what permission you want to allow, what permission you want to deny, and this is the structure through which it is being completely defined in a JSON format. So policies are nothing but a JSON document simply which defines the permission, and you can assign this JSON document, or I would say in a very technical term, policies to user also. You can assign to groups also. You can assign to even roles also. So roles we haven't learned about anything, but that is like a next level thing of user. Later we'll see about that. Now these policies can be AWS managed or it can be customer managed. Now AWS managed, that means AWS has already created a huge bunch of different policies like something like a EC2 related some policy, or maybe developer related policy, or maybe S3 system access related some policy. But let's say if your requirement simply doesn't satisfy with your existing AWS managed policy, you can definitely create your own custom managed, I would say, policy, and you can just simply put whatever permission you want to allow or deny. Okay, so that's like a very high level idea about what these users are, what is identity and access management system is, groups is, and policy. Now time to real dive into our AWS management console. So that's all about this video, and in the next one I'll just continue on complete hands-on part of users, groups, and policy.